Salutations, welcome to another episode of Foxx Plays KSP, the 365-day challenge, the reboot. So, yesterday was a bit of a downer. We rescued one Kerbal only to lose four, due to silliness of how KSP handles atmospheric craft, or that is to say craft in atmosphere. But we remain undeterred. We shall proceed. So, yes, repairs are finally complete aboard the near space station. And today we're going to do kind of a boring flight, but a flight nonetheless, to replace the destroyed Kristall module. This will open up possibilities of docking a shuttle, a space shuttle, to the near space station and expanding the crew aboard. So I think, without further ado, I'll see you on the launch pad. Alright, and here we are, back with our Proton K, carrying a slightly modified Kristall, ever so slightly. Well, actually, more like a modified upper stage. But, yeah, I did take another look at it and realized that our Delta V budget is kind of much tighter than I'd like it to be, but no matter. Let's just set our target. Not that it'll matter for our ascent, but, like to know where it is. Alright, so throttle up, SAS on, check. Here we go. Look at that. Graceful. I am looking forward to playing the new Tantares parts, but I'm a little afraid. I need to look into it and figure out if I were to uninstall Tantares and install the new version, if that would break the craft I already have in orbit. It probably would, so I don't know. Given that it's been a recent change, it might be set up in such a way that it'll have transitional parts so that you can kind of replace them gradually, but I don't know. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about for this launch, just because we've already done it before. A few things that I'll kind of go over again. Kristall has a number of interesting features. As I recall, it has an airlock portion, which is kind of near the end. But kind of some of the more interesting... I nearly forgot this. The orientation is a bit off, so I'm having to pitch up to go east. But it doesn't seem to be troubling us too much. So Kristall, it has an airlock, and it also has several facilities for growing various types of crystals. So it's really interesting because it's basically what Kristall did was it grew crystals and kind of manufactured some substances in orbit that were then transported back down to Earth for study, to see how manufacturing in space would affect the properties of various kinds of materials. And we seem to have kind of pitched over much too rapidly, so I'm going to kind of pitch back up. So yeah, but perhaps the most interesting feature of Kristall was it had two docking ports. One was along its axis and one was off to the side. It was a radial port. The radial port was never used, but it was planned to dock a second 37K type module there, which would contain a large radio telescope, which would have been very interesting, but lack of funding and never materialized. But so the radial port was never used, but the axial port on Kristall was designed to be used with the Buran shuttle, but because of the cancellation of Buran, I'm just going to have a first stage cut off here in a second. Because of the cancellation of Buran, and the introduction of the Mir shuttle program, or the shuttle Mir program, the docking port was used. And basically what happened was the American space shuttle went up, and it carried a component for Mir, which was a special docking module. And basically the shuttle docked with its own module and then used the module to dock to Mir. So I'm going to do something similar. And there isn't a specific part for it, but there are plenty that are good enough approximations that that it's not that hard. But yeah, it was the Kristall module really that allowed the shuttle Mir program to really achieve what it did. So cool beans. Anyway, we now have an apoapsis outside the atmosphere. We're gonna kind of start burning back down and try and convert some of that into more efficiently convert our fuel into orbital velocity. So something else that I'm definitely considering doing is, second stage cut off. That's what I'm saying. I guess it's not quite as close as I thought it was, but it's still pretty close to delta V. I'm going to have to be very, very careful with how I rendezvous to make sure I don't run out of fuel. So, what was I saying? Right. So something that I'm thinking about doing after I'm done with the shuttle Mir is I'm considering doing the Chinese space program, manned space program, which I find just fascinating. It's a super interesting. They've made a lot of really cool developments, and I really really love what the Chinese are doing with their space program. All right, there we have our shroud separation. All right, there it is. There's Kristall. And we have some panels here, just so that we don't run out of power, because I'm going to need all of my RCS for orbit manipulation, and I can't really afford to use it for attitude control. So we're just going to kind of deploy our module here, including our solar panels. So I kind of polish off our orbit here, and I'll come back when we're ready to dock. Okay, so here we are coming in pretty close to the near space station, and we're just gonna do a quick roll just so we can get ourselves lined up a little bit more. Alright, so we're gonna point retrograde on our orbit. Sorry, we're gonna point prograde on our orbit. And we're going to eject our module. And combined, we still have plenty of fuel. We do have a fairly limited supply of battery on Kristall, though, it occurs to me. Well, I don't know. We've got... just kind of transfer some charge around. Alright. Alright, so we're going to pull up our docking computer. We're going to verify that we've got the correct node selected. And that appears to be correct. No, because it would be the repaired node, so we want the top node. Yep. And we want to control with our docking port. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong way. And we're going to make sure that we dock in the correct orientation this time, so that we don't have to risk silliness. Alright, and we want our radial port pointed towards Spectre, which I believe a roll of 90 degrees will give us. Let's get fine controls on. Alright, and we'll do our whatchamacallit, our translation. Now this module is not very well balanced RCS-wise, but it does do the job. We are going to slow down just a little bit in terms of downward velocity relative to the station, just because I want to make sure that I'm clearing all those solar panels. Also, turn off fine control so our RCS works properly. Whew. Alright, we're going to start braking. Not braking the station, hopefully, but just decreasing our lateral velocity. And I am going to start closing with the station. Alright, and we're going to now close rapidly. Alright, and we're going to double check that all our orientations are correct. And they are. So good. We are coming in very, very, very quickly, but it doesn't look like it, but imagine what 0.7 meters a second actually looks like when you're talking about a module that weighs, several tons. And when there's nothing, when this isn't sitting on the ground and has the ground to kind of cushion it. So we're going to brake late. So it doesn't take all day. Alright, and we're going to perform some of our last kind of touch-up alignments. Alright, and there we are. Kristall is docked. Beautiful. Alright, and I guess that needs to retract. I didn't really realize that, but okay. Well, there it is. Kristall is now docked. So that means that we can now, tomorrow, we will hopefully be able to launch our first shuttle mission and dock a docking module and a whole shuttle up top here. So, well, I've been Foxx. This has been KSP using the lovely Tantares Mod Pack. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. All right, thank you for watching. Take care.